Hello, I'm Randy Swallow. Welcome to In Your Neighborhood. For the next half hour, we'll talk county issues and District F issues with a man who represents the area, your Commissioner, Justin Jones. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Randy.
How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Excellent.
Nice to be here on this beautiful new floor.
We're here inside the Desert Breeze Community Center, located in the heart of District F. District F is a vast one, located primarily in the southwest part of the valley, extending north to Charleston Boulevard. Here's a quick look in your neighborhood, District F. District F is home to the newest downtown in Clark County, downtown Summerlin. The county's largest master plan community has developed a couple million square feet for dining, shopping, entertainment, and more in a mixed-use, fully walkable marketplace. Other major game-changing private businesses choosing to slide into District F include the swimmingly successful Wet n Wild Water Park. And expect furniture fans to flock to the iconic blue and yellow behemoth IKEA store near the 215 Beltway in Durango, a Swedish-designed retailer that is the world's largest. And another master-planned neighborhood, Mountain's Edge, continues to rise in District F. Thousands of residents now enjoy recreating at Phase 1 of the newly opened Mountain's Edge Regional Park, with some of the coolest facilities in town. Desert Breeze Regional Park continues to be one of the best, with an indoor-outdoor aquatic center and hundreds of acres of green space and more. And the rural portions of District F include Sandy Valley, Blue Diamond, Good Springs, and Jean, lending a slice of the slower lifestyle compared to the fast-paced urban growth for residents and businesses in District F. Commissioner, you referenced this new floor here. Desert Breeze is almost 25 years old or so. It's one of the best regional parks, one of the best community centers in all of Clark County. But this floor needed a reboot.
It was. I mean, it was a great place for kids to come and play, for adults to come play. But the floor was showing its age, and I have to give a shout out to my predecessor, Commissioner Schuzenbrager, who really spearheaded making sure that we got this beautiful new floor. And you can see, I mean, I heard as we were walking in that it was installed and designed by NBA professionals, and you can see the quality here in the gym and across the facility here.
Anyone else that comes to Desert Breeze will see anything from new LED lights and other improvements all throughout the park. Why were these improvements needed, Commissioner?
Well, Desert Breeze is really one of the gemstones of our Parks and Rec facilities, and certainly on the west side of town, this is where everyone comes. This is the place to be for the Southwest Valley, and so we wanted to make sure that we stepped up our game over here at Desert Breeze and made it the facility that it should be.
And I know the aquatic center is in full swing, and a few months ago I know you had the pleasure of, when they reopened, the renovations there. It was replastered, LED lights added, and a new filtration system, which is similar to what pools on the Strip and things like that use. And this is also a great place for the Sandpiper Swim Club.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was pretty amazing to go back a house for the pool when we opened that a few months ago and see the technology. And it's really the highest quality facility off the Strip, and we're very proud of the facility that we have here.
And just community centers in general, Commissioner, now as the pandemic is, we're in the middle of things, that some of these community centers are opening. I noticed the fitness facility and things like that are opening. They're becoming even more valuable for people and for families to get out of the house and to get exercises in places like this that the county provides.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we all suffered through COVID, and we're continuing to adapt to the changes, but I have to give a shout out to our Parks and Rec folks and our real property management folks that really made sure that we have quality facilities, but that we're opening these quality facilities to the public right now when a lot of families are just looking for anywhere to recreate. And we're doing it in a safe way. We're doing it, we all got our foreheads checked, our temperatures checked when we walked in the door. We've got our kids here for our school days program, and we're doing as well as we can in a safe way to meet the needs of our community.
We'll talk about school days in just a second here, but I know even then the Parks and Rec are looking outside the box to do different things. I know they've been doing socially distant dance parties where they've taken the music out into the neighborhoods and trying to get the neighbors involved and giving them activities that normally we wouldn't necessarily provide.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to go dance around an apartment neighborhood in my community a while ago before school year got started, and that was an idea that came directly from our county staff. They wanted to be productive. They wanted to keep people engaged in our community, and so they had a great idea for a mobile dance party, and it got national attention. I mean, there were clips of it across the world because it was innovative and it was just fun.
You had your first ever drive-in movie here at Desert Breeze also. Again, thinking outside the box, engaging the community, and using our facilities and our staff to give something for people to do.
Absolutely. It was socially distanced, it was safe, and it was sold out.
Commissioner, I know just over my shoulder here, the Desert Breeze Special Events Center is more than halfway done, I believe. It's 125 acres, similar to something like what we saw at the Henderson Pavilion Center, maybe the Downtown Center downtown. So again, we still want to bring people together in these areas, and again, looking for things post-COVID to give people places to recreate and get groups of people together.
Absolutely. That was in process before all of this COVID mess, but we all need something to look forward to. And I know one of the things that I look forward to is going out to a concert and having a venue here at Desert Breeze to serve our community is something that we're very excited about. We're in the planning phase, almost finishing up the planning phase, and we're hopefully moving in the direction of getting that built in the next year.
Make this place even better.
Absolutely.
Commissioner, you touched on the school days program. Again, that was something where a collaboration where the county, you and your colleagues got together with the school district, and we've opened up, I believe, 13 different facilities here in Clark County where it's kind of a combination day camp as well as a distance learning activity center for kids. Tell me about the school days program.
Sure. So the county had run the Safe Key programs at many of the schools around the valley. And so we wanted to, as we're going to a digital learning environment, we wanted to make sure that we provided resources to parents who are working, who may not be able to be home and help their kids get online. I know I've been helping my kids get online, and it's a challenge. But we wanted to make sure that we provide those opportunities, and so we've opened up many of our community centers to parents to make a safe environment for kids to come to and learn.
I know yourself and your colleague, Commissioner Gibson, have been tasked with looking at some of the problems, or I guess, or just maybe explain it, is it how you're being able to assist the school district from the county level? And tell me about what types of findings, what types of things you've been doing as far as that in that regard.
Sure, so we've been collaborating with all of the other local jurisdictions, all the cities, so that we're all on the same page as to what our capacity is, what our resources are, and so that we can meet the needs of our community. Obviously, if you live in the city of Las Vegas, but your job may be in unincorporated Clark County, you want to be able to have that resource available to you, because you might want it you want that care closer to your home, or it may be closer to your work. And so we're really collaborating with the other jurisdictions, as well as with the governor's task force, which has really been focused on assisting the school districts across the state to make sure that people have broadband access, to make sure that people are getting the support, the digital tech support for the parents and the students who need it. And we're all learning in this new environment. And so we're here working collaboratively with nonprofits, with the governor's task force, and with the other jurisdictions to serve the needs of our kids.
I know there's a program in North Las Vegas also. They're doing something very similar with theirs. Is it all about options, Commissioner? I know you have school-age children, and people like yourself, there's hundreds of thousands of people that are having to make really, really tough decisions with a lot of unknowns out there.
Absolutely. I think we're all learning on the job. I know we've had many conversations over the last few months that we're building an airplane while we're in flight. And I got to give it to our county staff and to the many other people in the community that are really digging in and learning and making sure that we're able to provide these services to our community. I've had so many interactions with folks over the last few weeks and appreciate all the effort that went in to just get the schools reopened this week and make sure that we're providing that learning environment to our kids.
Commissioner, the last time we sat down in your neighborhood was in February, which seems like about 8 or 10 lifetimes ago, I think, at that time, but we're out there at Cougar Creek. That's a brand new facility and very well utilized from people there in the neighborhood. And it's got pickleball. What's the deal with pickleball?
No, pickleball is fun. In fact, my wife and her friend were out there playing pickleball recently, and the park was, I don't want to say packed, but it was well utilized, and people were enjoying the amenities at Cougar Creek, and we've got several other parks that are in process, and we're pushing forward to really make recreation available to folks in Southwest.
Red Rock Trail, I know that's something you had been pushing for. There's a grant approved to build a second leg out there all the way from Charleston down to Blue Diamond, I believe. What do you envision that trail to look like, and who's going to use that?
Sure, so this is really exciting. A few years ago there was a sort of a map created for what would be a trail, a multi-use trail that would go from Summerlin all the way around Route 159 over to 160 to Blue Diamond. And it was really just a piece of paper, a document, but 2 years ago the county was able to work with the Nevada Department of Transportation towards a grant for the first leg, which takes people from Summerlin up to the Visitor Center. And so they were awarded that grant from the National Highway Transportation Association or organization. And so we applied again this year, working with our amazing staff here, got the grant for what will be leg 5 from the town of Blue Diamond down to Wallapai and Blue Diamond. And so those are 2 of the 5 legs, but I'll let you a little secret. We are working with the BLM to connect the entire trail. And we also have a commitment from our own Public Works team to expand from Wallapai and Blue Diamond all the way down to Durango. So you will see, fingers crossed, that in the next few years we're going to have a pretty amazing resource for people to walk, to bike, to really get out and recreate safely off the road from all the way from Summerlin down to Durango and Pebble.
I think we should do our next in your neighborhood out there. We'll get on our bikes and we'll take a hike out there. We must take a break. We'll continue in your neighborhood with District F Commissioner Justin Jones. Stay tuned.
Positively Kids, a nonprofit foundation in Las Vegas, provides care for medically fragile children at no cost. Please visit their website and join the team to see how you can help support their efforts. Thank you.
District F is home to the Desert Breeze Community Center, Regional Park, and Aquatic Center. The Aquatic Center features newly renovated indoor pools open year-round, and the outdoor area is popular with people and pooches during the annual Dog Days event in September. The Community Center includes 2 gymnasiums, a fitness facility, and plenty of other rooms for classes and programs and instructions of all types. Baseball and soccer fields, a series of dog parks, and plenty of green space round out the amenities at Desert Breeze Regional Park. And that's where we are. We're talking District F issues with the man who represents here, your Commissioner, Justin Jones. Commissioner, obviously COVID testing has been something that the county has undertaken. We've moved it from a couple different hotel casinos from the Orleans in Texas, at UNLV, now at Cashman Center. Obviously this is something that the whole community must get involved with, and the county is doing their part here.
Absolutely. UMC has been at the forefront of this from day one. I know, sitting in meetings from early March, talking with UMC and talking with our community partners about how important it was for them to get the resources that they need. We devoted millions of dollars for additional testing, working with the state, with our federal delegation to make sure that we're able to get the most accurate tests, but also to have the staff to run our lab at UMC so we could turn around those results in a quick fashion. You know, I'm out in the community a lot, and people are complaining about the turnaround time for tests, and definitely that is a concern. But I can tell you that from UMC, with the exception of maybe 1 week, they have been turning around test results in 48 hours for most of the entire time of COVID, and that is so critical as we are asking people to quarantine, asking people not to go back to work or other facilities, that we're able to get those tests turned around quickly. And so I got to give a shout out to the leadership team and all the staff at UMC for really doing an amazing job. Same thing with the health district for all the work they've been doing.
I know you've even had some of the groups have been out even to Sandy Valley. This is really vital to get out into every nook and cranny of everyone's district to make sure everyone has test availability.
Yeah, absolutely. We made testing available through UMC and had resources across the valley, but we found that it was a bit of a self-selection. So people who wanted to get tested would go get tested, and that was great. But there were a whole other population of folks who weren't stepping up and getting tested. And so as the months went along, we identified those additional populations on the east side in some of the rural areas, and we proactively went out in the community and invited people to take advantage of the testing.
In the last couple of months, Commissioner, it seems to me that you and your colleagues and all local governments, everybody is doing different things. And I know that there's been a number of emergency ordinances or special ordinances that have come up in light of what has happened to our country, to our world in the past 6 or 8 months. And I know something you were very instrumental on was an ordinance prohibiting rental discrimination. Why did you bring this up? And just explain what this entails.
You know, it's something that we were looking at even before COVID, but I have to tell you that as 25% of our working population here faced unemployment, as folks were losing the compensation they're expected to, they're facing eviction. And so we had an eviction moratorium that the governor and local jurisdictions put in place. But as we're starting to see those changes with unemployment insurance payments that are now expiring, we wanted to make sure that when people need to go find a new place to live, that they aren't discriminated against because they may get a rental voucher. So the county, our social services folks, had paired with the state for $50 million in rental assistance. And so we wanted to make sure that just because someone has a voucher in their hand for rental assistance and they go to a place to seek to rent an apartment or to rent a home, that they weren't turned away simply because they had a voucher as opposed to some other source of income.
Is this something that will sunset, or is this something that will continue on after this pandemic?
So right now it'll sunset at the end of the year. However, if we see that the concerns are still there at the end of the year, which I think is highly likely, then definitely we'll move to expand that. I think you also see this as something that's going to come up in the legislature. This is something that's been adopted by 12 other states, including Utah, Oregon, Washington, some of our neighbors here, as well as more than 75 cities and counties across the country.
Something else that was quite interesting was the third-party food delivery companies that obviously they've been overwhelmed with business nowadays as people are staying home and keeping restaurants. Then it's kind of from the back end. All the restaurants and people in the restaurant industry came to you and came to other local governments saying that, hey, we can't afford to pay some of the fees. Talk to me what happened as far as what happened to the third-party food delivery fees.
Sure, I think all of us have taken advantage more of food delivery services during COVID. And I think a lot of people, when they tap their Grubhub or their DoorDash app, they don't recognize that a lot of the restaurants that they're ordering from, they don't get the benefit of those services. In fact, some of them don't have any agreement with those services, which was interesting to learn. And so we had a couple of the restaurants that approached us as commissioners, including several of those in my district, in District F, about concerns that some of these apps were taking 15, 20, 30, sometimes percentage of their bills as a service fee, and it was eating into their ability to even to survive as restaurants. And so we looked at other jurisdictions to see what they were doing in response to this issue, and we set a limit of 15% charge back to the restaurants. And it was pretty amazing to see really some of the top chefs in Southern Nevada show up to the county commission and tell their story. They want to keep serving our community, but they needed some help, and so we provided that help.
Yes, that was the interesting part, what you said. It basically was a who's who of restaurants in Clark County, but they were saying even some smaller restaurants where some of the, I don't want to mention any of the third-party companies, but they would put their menu on their app and it might not have been charged basically whatever prices they want. That just doesn't seem right at all.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. My brother-in-law owns a restaurant here, and he had that. I asked him about it, and he had the exact same experience where he had food delivery service show up at his restaurant and demanding that he provide menu items that hadn't been on the menu for 2 years. So,
Bar top gaming. Also, people in the resort industry or the smaller, many of people that have these same small restaurants needed to come up with a different way of, we can't sit at the bar and punch out our video poker machines, so we've moved them around. Tell me how that came about and what the conclusion was.
Sure. So this was a concern that had come up again from several of the bars and taverns in my district and in other districts, that they really didn't have a way to continue to serve the public if they weren't able to use any of their bar top areas, and people wanted to use gaming devices. And so the idea was, let's at least allow them to have stand-up machines or move some of those bar top gaming machines off of the bar so that people could continue to use them and they could continue to operate and basically just meet payroll, frankly. And so we're working through that right now, and I think that the long-term goal is obviously to get people back in those locations, put up dividers so that they can use those bar top areas, but where they needed some immediate relief, and we gave it to them.
A lot of these things, what we're just talking about, Commissioner, I mean, there's a fine line here between keeping people safe and keeping people employed.
Absolutely. It's a tough decision. We're in the thick of this on a daily basis, and I've had my experiences. I had one very narrow experience where out in the town of Blue Diamond there was a restaurant out there, but we had some issues with people misusing the park out there, and so we decided to close the road, and that meant that the restaurant business dried up, and so we had to go back and forth in terms of balancing the safety concerns with the concerns of a business not being able to operate. And we're basically doing that on a daily basis and trying to weigh the two competing important priorities.
The county has really stepped up with our responsibility to help small businesses. I know there's been 3 or 4 different grant programs that have gone to pay small business owners for some of the things what you just described. Talk to me about why the county has stepped up with that commitment for small business grants.
Look, small businesses are really the heart of our community here. And from day one, we saw many of those small businesses who were either shut down entirely as a result of directives from the state or from the local government, or were adversely affected. Obviously, restaurants were adversely affected. And so we wanted to make sure that we provided we provided business assistance programs to those small businesses with our CARES Act dollars. We as a commission identified $21.5 million in CARES Act to small business grant opportunities. We were fortunate that we had a new director of community and economic development, and in her department of one, she has done an amazing job of getting those funds out to small business owners, working with legal aid. They're providing legal services with a grant from us, with Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance with a grant from us, really to wrap around all the services that small businesses need to stay afloat.
We must take another short break. We'll continue in your neighborhood with District F Commissioner Justin Jones. Stay tuned.
When a website becomes outdated, you do the only logical thing. You implode it. Introducing Clark County's new website, totally redesigned with you in mind. Find the information you need on any device. It's Clark County in a click.
District F is home to the Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area. Red Rock is a wondrous place with stunning scenery and, of course, the namesake red sandstone peaks and cliffs. More than 2 million people visit each year for hiking, biking, camping, and more. The Visitor Center is a hub filled with indoor and outdoor exhibits, including a habitat for the beloved desert tortoise. Red Rock is located just a few miles west of Summerlin in District F, and speaking of District F, we're talking with the man who represents the area, your Commissioner, Justin Jones. Commissioner, anybody that's gone to clarkcountynv.gov has noticed a nice new fresh website. This is something that we had needed for a long time, and everything, again, what we've just talked about, a lot of it is getting people online so they can keep their business going and keeping a safe distance between them so they don't have to come down to the government center and other county facilities.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that the Clark County's website was clunky and dated. Commissioner Naft and I definitely made a priority when we joined the board last year, and I have to give a real shout out to our technology team at the county. They did an amazing job, and the new website is fresh, it's cool, and it's accessible, and it really makes those services that people in our community are most interested in, puts it right at their hands. The old website wasn't very user-friendly on a device, and we all know that we access the web more on our devices now than on a computer, and so it works much better on your devices so that you can tap into Clark County from anywhere.
We're a little more than 2 months as we sit here today before the general election in November. Clark County's election department and election departments all across the state, all across the country are in high gear. Talk to me about what types of things maybe you're concerned about or that your constituents are asking you about the election in November.
Well, I think safety is the primary concern, and I have to give a real shout out to Joe Gloria, the head of our elections team here in Southern Nevada. He's been forward thinking from day one of COVID and led the charge up at the legislature to make sure that we're able to mail ballots to all active voters here in Southern Nevada. And I think that will definitely increase our turnout and increase the ability for everyone to safely vote through a mail-in ballot. But wait, there's more. No, we're providing not just the mail-in ballot this time, but also our early voting sites that we've always had. So we'll have 35 early voting sites for people to access, and again, they'll be safely distanced, and the opportunities will be there to go early vote in person. And then on Election Day, we're going to have more than 100 sites for people to vote on Election Day. And one thing that's definitely new this time around is you can register to vote on Election Day for the first time ever. So all through early vote and also on Election Day. That was one thing that the legislature implemented last year, and we're very excited for the opportunity because it's proven across the country to be an opportunity for people to engage in the political process.
So despite some of the bluster we hear in different parts of the country, it really is easy to vote, and do you have full confidence in the election results here in Clark County in Nevada?
Absolutely. Not only do we have the laws in place to protect our vote here, I think as a result of forward thinking by the governor and the legislature, our Secretary of State has been on board and working very closely with everyone involved to make sure that it's safe and fair, and we have the county team here that really is committed to this job. I will say if you're interested in volunteering, and when I say volunteer, we actually pay you. If you have that interest to work on Election Day, definitely go to clarkcountynv.gov/vote and sign up to be a volunteer.
You make a couple $100 that day.
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
Yeah. What else are you and your staff working on here as we head into September and the later months of 2020?
Well, I think we've got two things that are sort of on track that have been a priority for me. We have our Transform Clark County process that's going forward that will really look at how we do zoning in the county. Our master plan hasn't been updated in many years, and I think this is really an opportunity for everyone to get involved in the process and talk about what we want our community to look like. And then also we have our climate action planning process that is getting moving right now, and I think you'll see survey going out here in the next few weeks to the community about what they want our community to look like in terms of addressing the needs of climate change.
All right. Well, I know we could talk for another half hour or more, but we'll let you get back to work. Thank you very much. Always great talking to you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it.
That wraps up this edition of In Your Neighborhood. Thanks to our good friends at Desert Breeze and to Commissioner Justin Jones for taking time to tell us about the area he calls home and represents as your elected official, District F. If you have any questions about this show or ideas for upcoming segments in your neighborhood, call me. I'm at 702-455-6357 or send an email to rsw@clarkcountynv.gov. Thanks for tuning in to Clark County Television. On behalf of our production staff, I'm Randy Swallow. We'll see you again next time in your neighborhood.